Most people have experienced a slip, trip, or fall at some point in their lives. Though an injury does not always occur, the potential for it is high. In fact, slips, trips, and falls make up the majority of the general industry accidents. These types of injuries are responsible for 20% of all occupational injuries. Here's another way of thinking about it. For every 10,000 workers in the nation, 31 have injuries due to slips and falls, and these injuries can be costly. Slips, trips, and falls are one of the top 5 reasons for workers' compensation claims within the past decade. The potential for a slip, trip, or fall to occur is always present at a worksite or office. Quite often, it is due to the nature of the work being performed. Falls kill approximately 12,000 people a year, with 1,500 of them happening at work. That makes falls the greatest cause of accidental death after traffic accidents. Falling on stairs is responsible for approximately 33,000 people being disabled each year. However, many individuals sustain lesser injuries such as strains, sprains, and fractures. This course is designed to teach employees and employers about one of the most common and preventable causes of serious injury and deaths. We'll explain best practices to help avoid these types of accidents. The employee will be more aware of how slip, trip, and fall injuries continue to happen and how they can be reduced. The Occupational Safety and Health Administration, or OSHA, has several regulations designed to prevent or reduce the number of slips, trips, and falls. These regulations include ladder design, guarding of open areas, clean floors, and general housekeeping for passageways, among several others. Deficiencies or unprotected hazards in any of these areas can result in an OSHA or state plan citation due to the potential for an injury to occur. To be sure, slip, trip, and fall hazards can be prevented in a few easy steps. Almost 1 in 5 workplace injuries is the result of a slip, trip, or fall. Let's define each of these terms so we can better understand how to prevent them. Slips happen when there is too little friction or traction between the footwear and the walking surface, resulting in a loss of balance. Trips happen when a person's foot or lower leg collides with, strikes, or hits an object, but their upper body continues to move, causing that person to lose their balance. Falls happen when one loses contact with a walking or working surface and lands on the surface. Falls can occur either on the same level or from an elevated level. Falls from an elevated level are second only to motor vehicle accidents, and they are a cause of workplace fatalities. There are a number of common hazards in the workplace that will lead to a slip, trip, or fall. Examples include unsafe ladders, unsafe stairs, obstructions in walkways or on stairs, slippery or uneven surfaces, improper shoes, moving too fast, poor lighting, and being tired or distracted, just to name a few. The most common cause of injury from slips, trips, and falls is not paying attention. In today's society, we tend to move at a fast pace. We are often in a hurry to complete a job or get from one place to another while having several issues on our minds. This sometimes means we are not paying attention to our surroundings, which can ultimately result in a slip, trip, fall injury. Learning to identify hazards that might cause a slip, trip, or fall is the key to avoiding this type of injury. Let's look at the most common hazards associated with slip, trip, fall injuries and how we can avoid them. The hazards that result in slips, trips, and falls generally can be grouped into 3 often interrelated categories: equipment, human, and environmental. Equipment hazards include improper footwear, uneven surfaces, foreign substances on surfaces such as oil or litter, and unguarded sides and edges of elevated platforms. Human hazards include inattention or distractions, haste, human error, failure to follow instructions, and fatigue. Environmental hazards include poor lighting, weather-related conditions, and poor housekeeping practices. It is important to recognize that anytime there is the presence of more than one of these factors, the risk of injury increases. For example, a dry floor may not be quite the slipping hazard to someone wearing rubber-soled shoes. However, when the floor is wet from mopping or from rainwater being tracked in from outdoors, the risk of slipping greatly increases. The addition of other factors such as poor lighting, not paying attention, and haste are likely to increase the risk further. There are many things you can do to eliminate hazards and help reduce the risk of a slip, trip, fall injury at your workplace. The 2 primary means are practicing good housekeeping and being a defensive walker. Let's look at both of these in more detail. One way to practice good housekeeping is to minimize obstructions. Anytime materials, tools, or debris are left on the floor, a hazard is created and the potential for a slip, trip, fall injury is there. To avoid this, put work items and tools away where they belong. Provide adequate trash cans for waste debris, and if there is debris on the floor, pick it up and throw it out. Think about placing receptacles in the immediate work area for small pieces of excess pipe or conduit during construction and maintenance activities. You should also keep stairs, aisles, and walkways clear of obstacles. Never use aisles, stairs, or walkways as storage areas. Wherever feasible, elevate power cords, cables, and hoses above the walking surfaces. But if they must be laid on the floor, protect them from displacement and from becoming a trip hazard. Cover them or tape them down or run them under the floor. In the office, be sure to close desk or cabinet drawers and doors. When considering good housekeeping, you must also watch for slippery surfaces. Wet and smooth surfaces are often slippery when wet, so consider using slip-resistant floor material where possible. Always have a de-ice material on hand for adverse weather conditions. Spills from whatever source need to be cleaned up immediately if possible, no matter how small the spill. If a spill cannot be cleaned up immediately, barricade the area until it can be cleaned up, or put mats down on floors in entryways to absorb water from rain or snow. Replace or report burnt-out light bulbs. Employees are not able to clearly see ahead of them or any obstruction in the way when lighting is poor. Ensure that adequate lighting is available in all work areas of your facilities. Replace burnt-out bulbs immediately and replace barriers or guardrails that are removed to perform work activities. Uneven surfaces are a major cause of trips and falls. Warped wood, loose or missing tiles, or mats and rugs that have turned up edges should be replaced and repaired immediately. Horseplay on the job is a common cause of trips and falls. It is important to stress that while at work, work is performed. Never play catch with materials or toss material around when moving or loading. All workers must be on a constant lookout for slip, trip, and fall hazards, and either fix or remove the hazard or report it to your supervisor for repair. Another good way to prevent slips, trips, and falls is to be a defensive walker. Watch where you are going while walking. Pay attention and look for slip, trip, and fall hazards. Always walk, don't fast walk, and never run. Make sure you give yourself enough time to get where you are going, and don't engage in activities that may be distracting while you're walking. For example, no talking on your cell phone, reading email, or texting. And please, when climbing or descending stairs, use the handrails. If your job requires you to lift things, first check to see that your walkway is clear and that your view is not blocked. Also, don't carry a load that you can't see over or around while carrying. Or if you must, have a spotter and others help while you navigate the corridors in order to get everyone safely to their destination. Walk carefully and slowly when transitioning from one walking surface to another, and slow down and take small steps if the walking surface is cluttered, narrow, uneven, slippery, or at an angle. Finally, it's nearly always necessary to wear stable shoes with non-slip soles. Follow the rules when using a stepladder. The most important thing to remember about ladders is to inspect them carefully before each use. If any part of the ladder is missing, loose, or otherwise defective, take the ladder out of service. Check for the inspection sticker or tag signed by the competent person. Loose or broken rungs or steps, missing or broken spreaders, tie rods and braces, paint or other coating material that tie off rope or cord, and other items specific to that type of ladder. Setting up ladders carelessly can also set you up for an accident. Make sure you have solid footing, the proper angle, and for straight or extension ladders, sufficient extension of the ladder beyond the landing area. 3 feet or more is required. Once the ladder is set up properly, it must be used properly as well. Use ropes to bring up supplies, wear an appropriate harness to tie off with, and keep weight centered between the rails. Keep hips within the side rails while working. If there is a need to reach beyond the immediate work area, move the ladder. Open any ladder fully and always on solid ground. Do not set a ladder up on other objects to increase the height that needs to be reached. Make sure shoes are free of mud, grease, or anything slippery before climbing a ladder. Maintain 3-point contact by keeping 2 feet and a hand or 2 hands and a foot on the ladder at all times. Dismount from the bottom rung rather than jumping from a ladder. Do not climb higher than the second tread from the top of the ladder. Do not perform electrical work with a ladder that is not approved or rated for such work. Do not set up the ladder near a doorway unless the door has been blocked or guarded. Don't exceed the ladder's safe working load, weight limit. Workers must be trained before they use a ladder, and they must also be trained on fall protection equipment and work on elevated work surfaces that require fall protection equipment. Fall protection equipment is required in general industry where there is a potential of falling 4 feet or more. Fall protection equipment is needed in construction when there is a potential of falling 6 feet or more. Ask questions if there is any part of the training that is not clear. Whenever there is a need, ask to be retrained. It's a requirement. Retraining is required when workplace conditions change or new equipment is being used. After training, follow your employer's instructions for safety equipment, inspection procedures, and work rules. Wear required fall protection equipment properly. The equipment does no good and may even be harmful if it is not worn correctly or is not properly secured. Remember, you are the person who will suffer the consequences of your decision not to wear the equipment correctly. Reducing injuries on stairs involves attention to maintenance as well as practicing good housekeeping and good individual safety habits. Stair treads should have a non-slip surface with an abrasive covering. Railings need to be in place and firmly anchored. Lighting in stairwells needs to be adequate for people to see where they are going. The basic steps to follow to avoid injury are: keep stairs clear at all times. Do not use stairs as storage areas. Always use the hand railing. Don't carry anything that blocks your vision. Keep one hand free to support yourself or break a fall, and keep your other hand out of your pocket. Watch where you are going at all times, and report all problems with stairs immediately to a supervisor, and do not use them until they are fixed. Slips and falls are a common occurrence on loading docks. The best ways to prevent them is to be certain that A, ramps have a slip-resistant surface, and B, that handrails are in place. Use a highly visible marking to distinguish change from the floor surface level to a ramp. Docks are often exposed to weather and petroleum leaks from motors. Many docks have concrete floors that are porous and will absorb oil. Rainy and snowy conditions will cause these surfaces to become slick. Use a type of abrasive metal plates for traction as well as provide for proper drainage. Similar to running, never jump off the dock. Slips, trips, and falls are especially common and troublesome because they can occur at any time during any activity, and there are so many hazards that lead to these injuries. Paying attention to your surroundings and eliminating potentially hazardous areas will reduce your chance of being injured. Here are some precautions for you to take to prevent slip, trip, or fall injury. Wear shoes with non-skid soles and flat heels. Be careful of loose pant cuffs or other garments you could trip on. Don't tilt your stool or chair back. Keep all 4 of its legs on the floor. Stay away from the edges of loading docks, manholes, and similar places where falls can occur. Use a ladder, not a box or chair, to reach high places. Don't jump from platforms. Don't carry or push loads that block your vision. Use wrenches with good heads and teeth so they won't slip when you pull on them. Don't use a cheater or a wrench. If the job calls for a bigger wrench, use a bigger wrench. Be on the lookout for broken concrete, manholes, uncovered drains, and similar hazards. Walk slowly, sliding your feet on surfaces that are wet, slippery, or uneven. Walk, don't run. Change direction slowly. Step over or around obstructions, not on them. Keep your hands at your sides, not in your pockets for balance. Take responsibility to report hazards. Don't depend on someone else to do it. Pay attention to what you're doing and where you are going. Clean up spills and leaks right away. Be sure there is enough lighting before you move ahead. Keep walkways and aisles clear of obstructions. Remember, you can prevent most slips, trips, and falls.